Fire continues to burn in Lakeside. We're live with the latest containment numbers and how locals are staying safe.
We'll tell you which local programs are at risk for federal funding cuts and how the supervisors are planning to prepare.
With new restrictions on ADUs in San Diego, what happens to bigger projects already in the pipeline, like the 120 units proposed here in Pacific Beach?
San Diego Unified Board members appoint Dr. Fabi Bagula as the district's permanent superintendent.
I'm overwhelmed and happy.
We hear her plans for the future of the district.
From beautiful Ocean's Eye to downtown San Diego at Petco Park, the 100-mile hike raising awareness for veterans.
Not many businesses last 50 years, but Joe Roper Surfboards did, and they're having a big celebration this Sunday.
CBS 8 News live at 6 starts right now.
Evacuation orders remain in place tonight as crews work to contain the Monte Fire in Lakeside. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Shannon Handy in tonight for Marcella. That fire broke out yesterday afternoon. We reported on it yesterday and through the night. And it broke out just off of Alante Road. That is east of Lake Jennings Parkway. It's more than doubled in size since yesterday. We have since learned it has burned at least 868 acres and is now 25% contained. Now that is up from 20% earlier.
We do have a crew on the scene. They're gathering some new information right now, so we're going to hold off. We're going to check back in with them in a few minutes to see the latest from the situation right now. At last word, it is growing at a moderate rate. It's not growing quickly, so that is some good news. And again, the containment number you see on the screen there is 20%. It's increased to 25%. In the meantime, the hot and dry weather that we've seen this week raises our risk for wildfires.
Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis joins us now for more on if there's any cool down in sight. Hi, Carlene.
Hi. Well, we are looking at a cool down that's going to be by the second half of this week. So tomorrow, a little bit of a cool down, still pretty warm out there, more noticeable by the weekend. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the conditions out there right now that they are still dealing with as they continue to fight this fire. You have 81 degrees for Lakeside at the moment. Around this time yesterday, still talking about those 90s, and especially when the fire did break out. Now we also still have dry conditions, and well, there you go. That's the magic of live television. So we're now looking at even higher humidity than we had in the last hour. So it's continuing to improve. We are looking at humidity at 50%. Temperatures come down to 80 degrees for Lakeside. So that is definitely a good sign. It's trending in the right direction for firefighters. So we're looking at those higher humidity values as we go into tonight and also the cooler temperatures. We still have gusts that's picking up to about 14 miles per hour. We'll go ahead and get to all the details coming up with your complete forecast and that cool down we just talked about ahead. Back to you.
Thanks, Carlene. And you can find an extended weather forecast on CBS 8 Plus. Just download on your TV and watch for free. All
right. Alex Cheney is in place and ready to go.
Yes, we were going to bring you him at the beginning of the show. He is live to give us the latest on the Monte Fire. We understand the containment numbers are up, but there are still evacuation orders in place. So let's go live now to Alex.
Yeah, that's right. We learned in the last hours the PI.
Just Monte.
Monte Fire sparked just before 3 p.m. yesterday with flames racing up the rocky hillsides. The area around here is filled with many family-owned ranches and farms. There's a nearby reservoir where we can see helicopters dropping in to refuel water. Evacuation orders are still in place this evening for areas north of Alante Road and just south of Barona, and evacuation warnings east of the mountain. The evacuation point is the Walmart on Camino Canada Road, and large animals can be taken to Diane Jacob Equestrian Park. I spoke to a woman who owns a ranch near where the fire started. She says she saw the flames all night and was worried about the 7 horses that she has on her ranch.
It looks apocalyptic, honestly. It's a lot of helicopters, smoke, flames even. There was flames overnight. Please be safe out here. I mean, anything can spark a fire. This has been my dream. I'm a veteran. I bought this with the VA loan. It's been something I've been wanting to do my whole. I've been riding for 30 years, and it could have been gone in a second.
You can still hear CAL FIRE helicopters and planes in the air as the firefight continues. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Alex. A private jet was flying too low in its descent path before it crashed into a military housing community in Murphy Canyon last month. That is according to a preliminary report released today by the NTSB. The crash killed all 6 people on board and injured 8 people on the ground. It occurred in thick fog and low visibility. The report states the jet was flying too low for more than a mile before it clipped power lines. It did not explain why, but an investigation is still underway. The report also noted part of the airport's lighting system, which helps guide pilots in low visibility approaches, had been out of service since 2022. The general manager of an El Cajon business raided by ICE in late March has been sentenced to 1-year probation. Josh Washburn pleaded guilty today to knowingly hiring at least 10 undocumented workers at San Diego Powder and Protective Coatings, and even letting some live inside the company's warehouse. Washburn must also complete 50 hours of community service as part of his sentence.
President Trump is suggesting his feud with Governor Newsom over the federal response to immigration protests in Los Angeles could affect whether or not he approves a requested $40 billion in disaster funding for January's deadly LA wildfires.
The man's incompetent. He shouldn't have fires like that. You clean the floor of your forest and you won't have any forest.
Newsom responded in a post online, calling the comments, quote, deeply disturbing. He added the National Guard was helping clear forests in the state before they were deployed to Los Angeles. San Diego leaders say the president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill threatens funding for essential county services.
CBS 8's Alex Lai shares the direct impact some say the cuts could have on our programs.
Thousands of San Diegans could be impacted from federal funding cuts in this bill. And today, 2 supervisors announced exactly what local programs are at risk and how they hope to prepare.
We know this is coming. We got to make a plan.
Supervisor Monica Montgomery Stepp and Acting Chair Tara Lawson-Remer say the county may have to shoulder costs for programs normally covered by the federal government if the proposed bill passes. Medi-Cal, behavioral health care, and even hospitals could lose critical funding and cost the county tens of millions of dollars to maintain.
That's people who won't be able to see a doctor when they're sick. People who end up dying of cancer because they can't get in to get a mammogram. It's horrible and totally unjust and really heartbreaking.
Other services like CalFresh, homelessness programs, and housing assistance could also be impacted.
We will see it in growing encampments. We will see it in overwhelmed ERs and families being pushed out of their homes.
While most cuts would go into effect in the new year, supervisors say planning can't wait. They unveiled a 2-step plan. First, a readiness assessment to evaluate staffing and operations.
We're asking the team to take a really careful look at what do we need to do to be ready, and then come back with a sketch of what's the staffing implications, what are the operational implications.
Then in September, a full fiscal analysis.
So that we can look at how much we may be in the hole, how much we may not be receiving from the federal government, and how are we going to either make our systems more efficient or have a backstop for that funding.
Last month, a proposal to use county reserves was shot down by Supervisor Jim Desmond, but Montgomery Stepp and Lawson-Remer are hoping to revisit the idea.
It is the quintessential rainy day, and it is raining, and we need to utilize the funds that are sitting in a bank account right now.
We reached out to Supervisors Desmond and Anderson for comment, but have not heard back. Lawson-Remer and Montgomery Stepp will formally present their proposal at next week's Board of Supervisors meeting and hope they have their fellow supervisors' support. At the County Administration Building, I'm Alex Lai for CBS 8.
Thanks, Alex. The city of San Diego is cracking down on how many ADUs developers can build on single-family lots, reversing years of looser rules. But how will the new changes impact projects that are already in the works?
CBS 8's Brian White is working for you and did some digging around to find out.
Yeah, this property here in Eastern Pacific Beach could soon undergo a massive transformation with more than 120 ADUs going in here. So when the new rules take effect soon, how will it impact projects like this?
It's a fire hazard. It's a poster child for bad development.
Here at the foot of Pacifica Drive, a developer plans to build about 120 one-bedroom ADUs in 6 3-story buildings. It's one of the largest bonus ADU projects the city has ever seen.
These are basically apartment complexes coming into the single-family neighborhoods.
Dr. Marcella Bothwell is chair of the PB Planning Group. She says the area's infrastructure is not built for that kind of density here, and with one way out to the freeway, the stakes are high.
This is a choke point for everyone going onto the 5. So, you know, if we had a fire like LA people would be trapped.
Under the city's previous ADU rules, developers could build an unlimited number of units if some were deed restricted as affordable housing. But now that's changing. This week, the city council approved new limits, capping most single-family lots to no more than 4 ADUs, but up to 6 for larger lot sizes. There's also a 2-story height limit and new infrastructure fees.
This has been 4 years in the making, and we're so glad that it's finally being addressed. But quite frankly, these rules should have never been in there in the first place.
Still, projects like the one in PB might still go forward. If the application is deemed complete before the new rules take effect, it may be grandfathered in. I reached out to the city's development services and planning departments. They told me the new rules will likely go into effect the first week of August. But for neighborhoods in the coastal zone like here in Pacific Beach, the California Coastal Commission still needs to weigh in.
Just because a project's complete doesn't mean it's not dangerous. The fire hazard doesn't go away.
I reached out to the developer SDRE Homebuyers and did not hear back. We're going to stay on top of this story. Working for you, Brian White, CBS 8.
Thanks, Brian. We have an update now for you on a story we first shared last night about the future of Horton Plaza. Today, the lender filed a lawsuit against the developer, Stockdale Capital, asking the court to step in and take control of the 7-block development in downtown San Diego. According to the lawsuit, Stockdale Capital still owes nearly $400 million, and the property is now in foreclosure. The lender also claims the property is falling into disrepair with water damage in several buildings, including the Lyceum Theater. We reached out to Stockdale Capital for comment, but have not heard back. Remember, if there is a story you'd like us to look into, just email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com.
2 weeks after a federal appeals court found the city of San Diego's ban on beachside yoga classes was unconstitutional, city leaders are appealing that ruling, arguing the court got it wrong. The city argues it was not a total ban, but a temporary summer moratorium from Memorial Day through Labor Day to manage tourist crowds at shoreline parks. Officials say yoga instructors have more than 60 other city parks available to them. The Ninth Circuit previously ruled yoga instruction qualifies as protected First Amendment speech, but the city maintains its restrictions are reasonable time and place regulations, not content-based censorship.
San Diego Unified officially has a new permanent superintendent.
We'll share her vision for the future of the district and the challenges she's facing next. Plus, celebrity guests help the Hotel Del celebrate an expensive grand reopening.
And later, the San Diego shop celebrating 50 years of what started as a side hustle that blossomed into a bustling business.